happy readers, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. This book. We're reading chapters 28 to 30. Chapter 28 is a very short, very just like brief chapter, but very like, it hits you and you're like, whoa, what is happening with Cole? But you know, because he explains like, you know, what's going on in his head and everything with the deer and questioning the value of life, whether it be human or actually like an animal. And if you read it, the last sentence of that chapter, I'm just like, what? Like, it could, like, I know that it probably means that he just wants to stay wolf and he just wants his life to be consistently wolf, even though he's been told that it really doesn't have meaning. So if you'd like to tell me what your interpretation of that last sentence of that chapter is, please leave that down there. We'll discuss. Chapter 29 is Grace's chapter. It's just all about Grace. It's so good though, because she really just spills her guts and says, hey parents, I know you're leaving for this all-day art show and you're expecting me to stay home, but that's really not fair, especially since you really haven't been very, I'm not gonna say bad parents, but they've, like she said in the book, in this chapter, that they've been more of roommates than actual parents. And so they've just now like decided, hey, we're gonna be your parents now that you're like 16, 17, I guess she's 17. I would say 17 going on 18. But yeah, they're really just being like, hey, we expect you to stay here and we expect you to not see your boyfriend for the next, you know, how many ever hours they're gone for, probably more than 12. Because she mentions that they leave at like 5:30 and come home like after midnight. I'm not saying disrespect your parents, but when it's like that and her situation especially, she just needed to say, hey, you know, be consistent. Don't just be one way and like flip-flop back and forth. Just go after one thing. Stop trying to be roommate and then go back to being parents when you just feel like it, when you feel like laying down the law. The second part of this chapter is very sappy and quite cute, I would say. Also, Grace really needs to tell Sam the truth and tell him that there's something going on with her and that she's maybe becoming a wolf, probably. In chapter 30, we see Cole again, and he's thinking even more complexly and just like giving us more information about himself. I like to write my book, and right here it says, that's when I'd be stocking up on soap heavy duty, because I know there's some sort of soap that's heavy duty, and I'm sure that'd get the blood right off of your hands. Maybe you should call Dexter. Yeah, I've never watched that show, but I hear there's a lot of blood, so... It occurred to me then that I was the opposite of my father because I was very, very good at destroying things. I wrote in the margin, mission accomplished. I really like how Maggie Stiefvater uses Cole to kind of figure out theories of how people become werewolves and like how they shift and really what causes that and kind of the scientific reasons of why. And not making the explanation some fantasy kind of thing where it's just like, oh yeah, they do it because they do it and there's no explanation, they just feel like it, and that's when they change. And again in this chapter, Cole really questions the value of life, whether it be human or animal. But in this chapter it's more human than anything else. And it reminds me of a previous chapter when Sam is talking about his own, you know, why he values human life over his life as a werewolf or a wolf. Even though he really questions the value of his own life and talks about the time that he was talking to his girlfriend and saying, why don't I just kill myself? And that would just be the end of that and I could forget everything forever. I think that he really should stay and he really should stay alive and figure out why people shift and what causes that and really just help people because they might not remember and it might not be necessarily helpful when they're either werewolves now or werewolves when they don't get to shift back and forth between human and werewolf. Just to kind of have like a handbook of sorts, I would say. I don't know if that's gonna happen in this book really because I haven't gotten that far. Because yes, Sam is kind of like the leader, but at the same time I feel like Cole, because he's both werewolf and human, he can probably, I don't know, he probably has a little bit more, I don't know what you would call it, importance with the pack. I don't know what it is about the end of the chapters, but I really always pay attention to the last sentence. And in this one, he says, I didn't mention it to her again because she was right. The only person who could talk me into or out of it was me. And that is so good and so true about like anything you do. Like, yes, you can have really supportive friends, or you could have somebody who's just awful to you, and you are the only person who can really make or break yourself. Even though we do put a lot of stock in other people and we do say, oh yeah, this person believes in me, or this person trusts in me, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's the other way around where like we don't really believe that they like us or that they love us or that they care for us at all. And so that really just breaks us a lot. But we have to believe in ourselves and, you know, go after that and just self-love. Some questions for these chapters. Do you think that Cole is going to be okay? Do you think that he is actually going to help people rather than just focusing on himself and focusing on his own self-worth? Do you think Grace is right for spilling her guts to her parents? Do you think that it's okay that she's run off, not really run off, but you know, she left her house when they told her not to? I'm trying to think of a good way to say this third question without it seeming really depressing, but like, is it okay? Do you think it's okay for him to question his value in, I guess, society within his own community? Just trying to figure out, not really, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to discuss the third chapter 30, I guess it is. Because it's just like, he's trying to figure out the stuff with being a wolf, and he's just trying to figure out why I'm not changing. I'm trying to think of what else to ask about this chapter, but it's so good, and definitely discuss it below and go to BehindYellowEyes.com to talk about it as well. They'll have a blog post and blog discussion stuffies, and yeah. So I hope you have a great day and keep reading Linger.